Hello folks, and welcome to I Want to See That. In today's show, we will hear from students around MATC about their favorite movies from 2014 and what everyone is excited for in 2015. After that, we will take a look at some of the trailers that has everyone marking their calendars this year, and our producer Jeremy Bohn will feature one of those trailers in a segment called Trailer Breakdown. And finally, we will close our show with an interview with a local film producer and director that has just begun an ambitious short film called It's Cold Up North. Let's begin by taking a look at the top movies at the box office this year. The Hunger Games: Mockingjay Part 1 was top at the box office, grossing over $335 million. Coming in at second overall was Guardians of the Galaxy, only a few million dollars behind The Hunger Games. The third highest grossing movie at the box office this year was American Sniper. We were able to ask a few students around MATC what they thought their favorite movies of 2014 were, as well as seeing what is getting them excited to go back to the theaters this year. Let's see what they have to say.
My favorite movie of 2014 has to be Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, just because it's just crazy how they make that look so realistic.
My favorite movie of 2014 was the documentary film The World is a Battlefield, directed by Jeremy Scahill.
My favorite movie of 2014 was The Equalizer with Denzel Washington, and I really liked it. There was a lot of action and a little suspense to it as well, so I really liked that.
My favorite movie of 2014 was The New Captain America.
My favorite movie of 2014 was somewhere between Guardians of the Galaxy and The Interview, once it finally actually showed up. But it was more likely Guardians of the Galaxy because it was funny.
My favorite movie in 2014 was Taken 2.
The Monsters, Two Guns.
My favorite movie of 2014 has to be the Keanu Reeves vehicle, John Wick.
My favorite movie of 2014 was Interstellar.
My favorite movie of 2014 was Birdman.
My favorite movie of 2014 was John Wick.
In 2015, I'm mostly looking forward to the new Jurassic World movie.
2015, I want to see the SpongeBob movie that just came out.
In 2015, I'm looking forward to movies like Jurassic Park and The Terminator. I'm really looking forward to seeing that because The Terminator's coming back out again, and I really liked that as a kid.
I'm looking forward to watching the new Avengers movie.
I'm looking forward to seeing the new Avengers movie.
The movie I'm looking for 2015 is The Boy Next Door with Jennifer Lopez in it because it looked really awesome from the previews. And then the next one is 50 Shades of Grey because how the previews are, it looks really awesome just looking at it. So I'm looking forward from those two movies.
I'm looking forward to seeing, I think, Inside Out, the one about the emotions inside people's heads.
We both looking forward to seeing NWA that's coming out 2015.
In 2015, I'm most anxious for the new Star Wars movie, number 7.
The movie I'm looking forward to seeing in 2015 is Star Wars.
I'm most looking forward to seeing Star Wars. It's going to be great.
I think I would have to say my favorite movie of 2014 had to have been Interstellar, but I'm really looking forward to Avengers 2: Age of Ultron this year. But before we take a look at a few trailers of movies coming out in 2015, let's see what the producers' picks of 2014 were. This year's producers' picks are Boyhood, a magnificent film about a boy growing up into a young adult, truly capturing all the joys and difficulties of life along the way. It was directed by Richard Linklater and was shot over the course of 12 years with the same cast. Next is Whiplash, another great film from this year that was directed by Damien Chazelle and stars Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons. And finally, the top pick from this year's producers' picks is Interstellar. It was absolutely amazing and in IMAX all 3 times he went. The film was directed by Christopher Nolan and stars Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Jessica Chastain, and Michael Caine. Now, with all this talk about the best movies from last year, let's take a look at some trailers of movies coming out this year.
I know you mean well. You want to protect the world, but you don't want it to change. There's only one path to peace. Your extinction. The whole world screaming for mercy. Everyone tangled in strings.
It's the end. The end of the path I started us on.
Nothing lasts forever.
There has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
I'm really proud of you for going on this trip. You're gonna have so much fun. And remember, if something chases you, run.
We have learned more in the past decade from genetics than a century of digging up bones. A whole new frontier has opened up. We have our first genetically modified hybrid.
You just went and made a new dinosaur? Probably not a good idea.
Almost 40 feet high.
Really think she climbed out? Depends. On what? What kind of dinosaur they cooked up in that lab? Evacuate the island. She's a highly intelligent animal. She will kill anything that moves.
Oh, God.
It looks like this year is going to be full of great movies. I'm going to have to go see those 3 in the IMAX, especially Jurassic World. Speaking of Jurassic World, many fans are skeptical of the new movie after seeing the first trailer. It seems like it is common practice to judge a movie if it looks good or not by watching the trailer. It's actually been that way for years, even before the internet made it so easy for video clips or trailers to become leaked and spread virally. So, producer Jeremy Bohn has made it his mission to debunk those skeptical fans in his segment called Trailer Breakdown.
Hello all, and welcome to this week's Trailer Breakdown. In today's breakdown, we will focus on the Jurassic World trailer, specifically on how Colin Trevorrow's new movie seems to have taken a few pages straight out of Spielberg's 1993 original, as well as a comparison of the first official trailer and the new Super Bowl spot that was released to debug any skeptical fans with their burning question of, how did CGI get worse in the last 22 years? Well, let's begin with how the trailer is trying to emulate the success and wow factor that the first one presented so well. As we take a look here, this is an image of the InGen helicopter entering the island for the first time in Jurassic Park. And now here is almost that same shot from Jurassic World. Let's get another example. We can take another look here at the Jeeps crossing through the giant Jurassic Park sign we all remember so well from the original. And here's ultimately the same shot from Jurassic World. Now, the director isn't necessarily trying to copy the original movie shot for shot, but rather give the audience something to see and quickly remember the magic we felt in the first film. So these next 3 shots are a little bit of a stretch, but bear with me. Another magical shot from Jurassic Park was the sick Triceratops. In Jurassic World, our characters, played by Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, have not stumbled upon a sick dino, but rather a dinosaur that is injured from another dinosaur. This isn't the same shot, but we get that same feeling here like we did in the original. Now next, there was a shot in the original where Lex and Tim are almost eaten by a T-Rex in the car. Jump ahead 22 years later, and the park is no longer using Jeeps, but now gyrospheres to navigate through the park. The last shot in the Super Bowl trailer lets us assume that the same fate is about to happen to these boys that happened to Lex and Tim. Gyrospheres and Jeeps are pretty expensive, so when Ellie Sattler and Robert Muldoon go looking for the missing Jeep, they find it smashed under a tree, and when Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard go looking for the gyrosphere, we seem to be back under that tree, and just like in the original. Now, I don't think these decisions were made to remake the movie, just because the movie will be 2 hours long, and this is just mere seconds of the movie. So expect a lot of fresh and new scenes that may go down as just as iconic as the first film. Now let's quickly shift gears and talk about the skeptical fans who think the CGI is worse in the new movie. Well, it's not, you fools. Films aren't just shot and sent to theaters. There's copious amounts of editing and post-production before a trailer is even put out. I think the marketing team for the new movie was a little rushed in releasing the first trailer, because looking at the difference from the first trailer to the second, you can see so much more work has been done. Let's take a closer look at a few. This picture shows the Mosasaurus jumping out of the water to eat his lunch. The first trailer had a lot more water surrounding the edges of the dino. Now in the second trailer, you can see that's cleaned up a little bit, and there's less water as it jumps out. And now this shot in the first trailer, we might not have been wondering what these people are running from. But now with that updated CGI starting to take effect in the second trailer, we can see exactly what was supposed to be there. And then this one, even just the colors in the river scene from this first trailer look a lot different than the ones from this second trailer. And finally, what everyone seems to be worried about is the raptors. Look at how dark and undetailed they are in this shot of the first trailer. Now, let's compare it to the same shot in the second one. Looks a lot better, huh? Well, that's been Trailer Breakdown for this week. Don't forget to go see Jurassic World on June 12th. Now back to you in the studio.
Welcome back, folks. Today we have a special guest who is a local film producer and director, James Rufus. Welcome, James. It's nice to have you here.
Nice to be here. Nice to be here.
All right. Well, I've got a couple questions for you today. I think to lead off, I'd have to ask you, what would you say your inspiration to get into writing and producing movies was in the first place?
Well, I mean, I think everybody who, grows up in America sees a lot of movies as a child. Like most kids in the 90s, probably the first movies I saw were like Disney movies and stuff. And as I got older, my uncles were real into crime films and things of that nature. So I saw Goodfellas and Casino and a lot of Scorsese stuff when I was younger. And then as I got into middle school, I kind of, developed my own tastes. I got into Tarantino, and so I'd say my introduction was mostly crime films as I got older. But then I just kind of, as I got into high school, I was always in theater. I was in a play when I was in grade school, and in high school I was in acting, and I think they just kind of combined it, watching movies, being in theater, enjoying, creative writing, and it just kind of blended to be a mutual thing. I, took a little from everything, and yeah.
All right, sweet. And speaking of creative writing, can you tell us a little bit about the first story or script you ever wrote?
Oh, God. Probably the first story I wrote stuff for, when I was in middle school, I would make handicap movies with my friend.
Okay.
And the first story I wrote was probably a movie we did when we were like 12 or 13 called Fast Lane. It was about a drug deal gone wrong. So yeah, it was very poorly shot, but we were 12. So I mean, but yeah, that was probably the first movie script I ever wrote.
Okay, that's really awesome. And you said stuff about Goodfellas and Tarantino films, but who would you say your biggest influence for writing and directing films would be?
Well, I think the writers, it's interesting because not every director writes their own stuff. So as far as a writer-director, I'd probably say Tarantino. From a strictly directing standpoint, I'd probably say Stanley Kubrick. He didn't really write anything other than I think 2001. I don't think he had, he mostly adapted novels and things of that nature. But from a directing standpoint, I'd say you can't really get better than Kubrick.
Okay. And so you've got all these influences and inspirations, and then when it really comes down to the skills you've learned, would you say that the classes that you've taken at MATC have really helped with your writing and your film producing?
Well, I haven't taken any writing classes here, but I would say without a doubt my film directing and producing has improved greatly because of MPTV. I think here it's a lot of hands-on stuff, and doing student ops last year, they give you a camera and a little audio kit and a lighting kit, and they kind of throw you out there to produce something on your own. And I think that that's a good way to learn because you deal with, you have to troubleshoot things like on a real set and deal with talent and scheduling things and locations. So I think it helped tremendously to take classes here at MPTV.
Perfect, perfect. And okay, so you've got all this experience with hands-on stuff that, from these classes, and why don't you tell us a little bit about your film that you're producing? It's Cold Up North.
Yeah, it's a short film, you know, I wrote a couple years ago. The lead in the movie is my former high school acting teacher. I believe the cast is very strong. They're, you know, I got some good actors and actress, a couple people from the UWM theater department. Great DP, Gary, who's also a part-time teacher here. Also a current student, Trevor Sigmund, is producing the movie. So, you know, there's a MPTV influence, but it takes place in 1996. It's a crime film in Milwaukee, and kind of follows the day in the life of a bookie and how things go bad for him.
Okay, so are there any specific locations in Milwaukee that you're going to be shooting at, or that you have planned out already?
Sure, we shot at a couple. We shot at a bar in West Dallas.
Okay.
We shot called the Walker Inn. We shot at the Miramar Theater on Oakland Avenue. We will be shooting at the Kilbourne Lofts on 22nd in Kilbourne. It's a former mental hospital from like the 20s that got converted into apartment buildings. So that's a real cool building that's been there for a long time. There's shots just of the city, of streets and things. But also we shot out on Wind Lake, because there's an opening scene that takes place on a frozen lake. And we shot that out on Wind Lake, which was very interesting. There's some good people down in Wind Lake, but it's a very cool little town. But yeah, we shot all over the place. You know, we shot on the west side of Milwaukee in an apartment building. So yeah, we've shot a few different places.
Have all these local places that you've been shooting at, have they been more than willing to let you film there?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the thing I like most about Milwaukee is the people, and they're very nice, very open to things like that. It's a very artsy city, and film, music, everything, you know, people can dig it here. You know, they like it. So yeah, they're very accommodating.
All right, that's awesome. Where's this film going to be distributed then, once it's all said and done?
Well, I'm not actually looking necessarily to distribute it. I'm just going to enter it into some festivals. I've written a couple feature film scripts that I'm going to try and just get my name out there and try and see what I can do with those. But I'm not looking to make any. This wasn't done for profit. It was just more done for to try and get my name out there.
Okay, all right. And is there going to be any way is there going to be a way to see any of these clips or a trailer for this film before it comes out?
We might put together a trailer that maybe we put on YouTube, but I don't think any clips will be available, but maybe eventually. You know, we'll see. We'll see what happens with it.
All right, all right. And you said a couple film festivals you wanted to have it entered in. Do you mind elaborating which film festivals?
Well, the Milwaukee Film Festival is a very good film festival. They like to highlight, you know, local shorts and definitely their, you know, hometown kind of thing. But also there's a few, you know, a bunch of different film festivals. They kind of have their niche, but you know, the Telluride Film Festival, the Brooklyn Film Festival, the ones that kind of like up and coming, you know, shorts, things of that nature. But yeah, a few. There'd probably be, you know, 10 festivals that I entered into.
All right. Well, it looks like we just got about a minute left here. Last question: are there any future films or stories you have in mind?
Yeah, I have a bunch of scripts that are either completed or I'm still working on. But the next one, the first one I will be trying to shop is it's a story about bank robbers, but another crime film. But That's all I'll say.
All right. So it looks like we've got more to come after it's cold up north.
Hopefully.
All right, perfect. Well, that looks like that's all the time we have today. I'd like to thank our guest, James Rufus, for coming in and sharing his time with us. And thank you, everybody, who tuned in to watch this week's episode of I Want to See That.